Hello viewers. 22nd January 2021 was the day when large number of amendments were brought about in the CSR legislation. And since that day, large number of terms which got dusted upon by that notification suddenly got momentum. And one such term which got a significant momentum is impact assessment. Well, you have guessed it correctly. Impact assessment is the topic we are going to discuss today. Let's see impact assessment from the lens of CSR regime. So let's begin by understanding what is impact assessment and why impact assessment was required in the first place. Well, know that impact assessment was there much before the CSR regime came into picture. So let's commence by understanding the value creation that impact assessment does. Typically, an impact assessment analyzes, measures, monitors, and evaluates the outcomes of the social program that is being executed. Understand that whenever there is an intervention and a social program is implemented, this program will have both the positive and the negative outcomes. This program will have the intended and the unintended outcomes. Therefore, typically, an impact assessment will measure and evaluate all the outcomes, that is, the positive outcome and the negative outcome, the intended impact and the unintended impact of the social program. Secondly, such impact assessment takes into consideration several types of impacts, which are the social economic impact, the cultural impact, the human impact, and therefore such study in the form of impact assessment gives a more profound understanding on the results of the intervention. Lastly, such impact assessment study facilitates the decision making process for the deployment of the company's CSR funds for a particular project. So, which are the companies who should mandatorily undertake the execution of impact assessment? For this, we refer to Rule 8.3a. Now, a company is required to execute impact assessment if all the three conditions are satisfied. And which are these three conditions? Well, these conditions are: first, the company should have an average CSR obligation of rupees 10 crore or more in the three immediately preceding years. That is the first condition. Well, the second condition is that the company has executed projects having an outlay of rupees 1 crore or more. And the third condition is that the projects which are going to be subjected to impact assessment are those which were completed not less than 1 year before execution of the impact assessment. So, if all these three conditions are satisfied, then the company needs to execute the process of impact assessment. Next question is, what is the amount that could be spent for impact assessment? Well, the amount is 5% of the total CSR expenditure for that financial year, or rupees 50 lakhs, whichever is less. So this is the amount which becomes the maximum permissible limit for impact assessment. And last is to understand what are the reportings in respect of impact assessment. Well, there are three reportings. First is the entire impact assessment report has to be placed before the board. Also, it has to be annexed to the annual CSR report. Secondly, a web link to access the complete impact assessment report has to be provided. And lastly, an executive summary of the impact assessment report has to be incorporated in annual report to CSR.